All right, now we are going to talk about constraint optimization. Well, the simplest environment where we have two variables and also the constraint is in equality forms rather than inequality forms. If the constraints are inequality, well, then we use more general form, which is called Kuntaker. But now we are going to use a simpler version, the Lagrangian, which is a simple case for Kuntaker. But when we have, so let's suppose the two variable constraint optimization problem, which is something like this: maximize or minimize objection function f x1, x2. It has two variables, x1 and x2, subject to if some function of x1 and x2 has to be equal to some constant a, all right? A is a real number. So g and f can be increasing, decreasing, any functions, but they're differentiable, let's suppose. All right, so there are two methods. Well, depending on the environment, if g functional form is not too complicated, I always suggest to use the substitution method because, I mean, I think it's the easiest, but sometimes g can be very complicated or f can be very complicated functional form, in which case a Lagrange method can be easier to apply. All right, so what is the idea of substitution method? Well, first of all, let's look at the constraint. So the constraint tells me a function of x1 and x2 has to be a real number a. So what I can do, I can keep x1 on the left-hand side and send everything to the right-hand side, if I can do that. Well, so that means I can write x1 as a function of x2, a function of x2, some new function h. So if I can do that, well, then I basically plug this x1 into my objective function. So, all right, so instead of x1, I have h of x2, and then therefore my functional form is going to be my objective function. Here I am maximizing by choosing x1 and x2, but here I am choosing only x2 because my objective function is a function with one variable only, right? So an example, maximize x1 to the power 1/2, x2 to the power 1/2, subject to 2x1 plus 3x2 is equal to 5. All right, so this is my g function. So here, keep x1 on the left-hand side and send everything to the right is relatively simpler because it's 5 minus 3x2 divided by 2. And so plug this back to my objective function, which basically gives me maximize. So x1 to the power 1/2, which basically means 5 minus 3x2 divided by 2 to the power 1/2 times x2 to the power 1/2. All right. So this is a sort of simpler function because it has only x2 as a variable. So all I have to do, this is my new function f. Just take the derivative with respect to x2, set it equal to 0, and find the critical points. And if you want to make sure that this critical point is the local max or min, look at the second order conditions. All right. Well, but here, as I said, the g function is very simple. So what if I have a more complicated g function? An example is of, I don't know, instead of 2x1, 3x2, so let's suppose it is x1 to the power x2 equals 5x1 square. All right, something like this. I didn't really think through, maybe, well, actually we can still write x1 as a function of x2. Anyway, I mean, something more complicated, all right? So that wasn't a good example. Sorry. So Lagrange method, so if you can't do that, if you can't write x1 as a function of x2, well, what you can do, you can write the Lagrangian, all right? So what is the Lagrangian? How do we construct the Lagrangian? Lagrangian, first your objective function, f of x1 minus x2, minus some lambda times your constraint, g x1, x2 minus a. All right, that's always how we write it. Objective function minus lambda times your constraint, g minus a. All right, and then maximizing this, solving this problem maximizing this function, solving this problem and maximizing the Lagrangian or minimizing the Lagrangian are identical or equivalent thanks to Kuhn-Tucker theorem. So here, what you have to do, you have to first find the first order conditions. All right, so FOC, first order conditions. What does that mean? Meaning you're finding the critical points. Here though, the important thing is, normally I am maximizing this objective function by choosing x1 and x2. So choice variables. Normally, my choice variables are x1 and x2. All right, so I maximize my function by choosing x1 and x2. I can't choose A, I can't choose f, the functional form, or I can't choose the g function. All right, in a more complicated environment, you could choose them. But here, no, you can't. There's only x1 and x2 that you can choose. In the Lagrange method, however, you basically increase the number of choice variables to 3. So it's not just x1 and x2 that you're choosing, you're also choosing lambda. This is why we write L, script L, x1, x2, lambda. All right? So still f is a fixed, you can't choose f. G is fixed, you can't choose the g function. Or A is fixed, you can't choose A. But you can choose x1, you can choose x2, and also lambda. So that means I have 3 choice variables, and hence the first order condition has to satisfy those 3 conditions, right? The partial derivative of the Lagrangian function with respect to the first variable x1, which is the partial derivative of f minus lambda times partial derivative of g. The derivative of a is just 0, has to be equal to 0. Partial derivative of the Lagrange has to, with respect to x2, has to be 0, and partial derivative with respect to lambda has to be 0. So I have 3, so if I have 2 variables, I have 3 constraints, equalities, all right? So that is gonna give me x1 star, x2 star, and lambda star as the critical values, all right? Is x1 star, x2 star, and lambda star, are they the local max, local mean? Well, then you have to check the second order conditions. I'm going to ignore that. But the thing is, the critical points, if you want to find them, basically you need to solve these 3 equalities. Well, you can extend this idea to more than 2 variables. If I have 5 variables, all right, and if I have more than 2 functions, g1, g2 as a constraint, well, again, it's like you write down the objective function minus lambda 1 times first constraint minus the constant, minus lambda 2, the second constraint, minus lambda 3, the third constraint, etc. And so each constraint is going to give you a new parameter, and you already have, let's say, 5 variables, and let's suppose you have 2 constraints, so 5 plus 2, 7 variables in your Lagrangian, x1, x2 up to x5, lambda 1, lambda 2 for each constraint. And so you're going to have 5 first order conditions to solve to find the critical points. Okay, so that's sort of the engineering part of it. But let me try to say a few things about the intuition behind the Lagrangian. I assume you already know and learn how to use Lagrangian, how to build it, and the intuition about it. But remember, the intuition is the following. So here, I mean, why am I trying to sort of maximize this new function, given that my original objective was to solve this problem? Well, here is the reasoning. So you can choose x1 and x2 so large that f can take a very huge value, right? But the thing is, doing this, like choosing x1 and x2 like as you wish, is probably going to violate your constraint. Your constraint says, look, I want to maximize my f, all right? So let's say my f function, well, I know it's 2-dimensional, but it's an increasing function, all right? So the higher x you choose, the higher value you're going to get. But the thing is, your constraint says, hey, look, your constraint must hold. So you can't really choose any x1 and x2. You're constrained with this thing. All right. Well, then what I want to do, I want to sort of construct a new objective. And these two objectives are equivalent thanks to Kuhn-Tucker theorem under certain sort of very weak assumptions. So it says the following. Look, this is my objective. I want to maximize it. But the thing is, I don't want to violate this, all right? If I violate this, I'm going to punish myself in my new objective, all right? So how is this punishment works? I multiply it by some lambda, all right? It's like sort of measuring how much do I care about this punishment, all right? And then my sort of G minus A, sort of the a constraint, a punishment coming from the constraint. So if I choose x1 and x2 too large, yes, that part is going to be huge, awesome. But the thing is, this part will also probably be huge. I don't know if G is an increasing function. Well, that means this this difference is going to be huge. And when lambda, how much I care about deviating from satisfying my constraint, it's going to be huge. All right. And to be honest, I don't want to deviate from this deviation. Remember, I have to satisfy this. So in that environment, I put large values of lambda because I am way off the path. So yes, choosing x1, x2 as large as I want is increasing this part, but it's also increasing the punishment part. And so overall, if I choose lambda high enough, it is going to sort of reduce my total